12:05 in the afternoon here on 90.3 FM. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for Helping Seniors of Brevard. As we get things underway with that familiar music for Helping Seniors of Brevard, let's introduce the host of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the executive director. I always like to say we get a BOGO or daily double there, and here is Kerry Fink. Hi, Kerry.
Oh, thank you, John Harper. I was smiling at the weather forecast when you get to the part that it's finally going to get above 70 degrees because I don't know, that term when you see something about clothing, it says gently used. That's how I feel about like our winter closet because I'm having to find jackets and things that haven't really been out of the closet for years.
Gently used.
So they are still there, thank God.
Very true.
It's going to be nice when it gets warm. And we're going to have a great show today because we're going to talk about a new year in real estate. And we have a friend of ours in here who is a great friend of Helping Seniors. His name is Mark Gallegos. He has a lifetime of experience in real estate. But before we get there, real quick, I was going to tell you, we have been working together with our friends at AARP. They've launched a new program here in Brevard County called Walk with the Doc. And it happens every second Friday right at the Merritt Square Mall. So it just began this month and will come back again. It actually turns out it's Valentine's Day morning, February 14th is the next one. But it's so fun because when we were talking with the folks who set that up, and I think they're going to join us at some point today on the broadcast via phone as well, to talk up a little bit about it. It was a great turnout. There was like 40 or 50 people out walking the mall. But I remember talking with Jasmine Alfonso, who is the person that kind of puts all that together from the AARP side. She said, Kerry wanted to find a mall that we could do the walk in because in the summer, it will be nicer because it's air conditioned. You don't have to be out. They do it first thing in the morning. It's like a 9 a.m. thing. But the point was, this first time, we were in the middle of this cold stretch. So we were like, well, the mall has another use. It keeps us from having to be out in the cold. So anyway, it's a fun program. And Lydia Rivera is going to be joining us by phone. And we have her available now. Well, wonderful.
I am here. Hi, how are you? I'm here. I'm ready for you guys.
I am
Thank you.
So glad that you're able to be here because you are the doc in the Walk with the Doc. You're a ARNP who's an expert in family practice in the Orlando area, and you were so kind to come over and get this whole program rolling. And what a fun morning that was.
Yes. I'm excited to just be there the second Friday of every month. And, we want to encourage people to live longer and healthy. That's the main reason.
Yeah, we were talking about this when we were together out there for the inaugural session. What I was amazed about is the fact that this is not, this isn't just specifically a local thing, but this is like a nationwide phenomenon. I know you guys have been doing this in the Orlando area in Kissimmee now for a while, and I was so excited to see that you're bringing it now to our area, Brevard County, because it does so many good things. It's putting together, first of all, it's putting together exercise, because every time we go talk with the doc, they're always telling us we should do more of this. But secondly, people get to interact and get to know you and maybe ask a question that they would be afraid to. You probably saw that happen a lot when we were out there.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so and then the third thing is it seems like it's wonderful socialization. We got to meet so many kind people. There's a great team of AARP volunteers right here in the county, and it was just a fun morning out. Now, you've been doing this for a while over in Kissimmee, and talk a little bit about what you've seen as the program grows over time.
Yes, actually, we started in Kissimmee actually a year ago. So in January, it's actually anniversary here. And our focus is actually encourage people to walk, because if you walking is actually the best exercise that you can do at your own pace. And not only that, as you walk in, you connect with other people, which is very important. Many seniors are isolated, they live alone, they don't have anyone to talk. And this is a way, because here in Kissimmee, we have several walkers. They have exchange for number. They go for coffee. They talk. And it's very important. And our focus is actually brain health, prevent cognitive decline by walking, interacting with others. So It's been great, and this is actually a non-profit organization, and it's been around for 20 years in U.S. and around the world as well.
Yeah, and it was amazing because I really enjoyed. I'm glad we get the chance to talk about it now that we've been through the first one, because I sort of had an idea what to expect, and it was much better even than I thought, because the way the whole program worked. I mean, there was T-shirts for people. They had pedometers to help them stay encouraged about staying active. There was some snacks and things as well, and probably the most important part was you kind of like gathered everybody together and you gave us a little pep talk and helped us stretch out so we were all set to go do the walk. And I remember asking Jasmine this question. I said, well, what if you need to walk really slow, or what if you can't do like as many laps as the other people are doing? I said, this isn't like a 5K. And she said, oh no. And that's exactly what I saw. Talk about that a little bit, Lydia.
Yes, actually, we want to make sure encourage every senior and this is actually for everybody, every group age, but we want to encourage people to walk at their own pace. And if you can walk 10, 15 minutes and stop, that is fine, because the next time you might add another 5 to 10 minutes. So we want to encourage, we have fast walker, but we have slow. So we have a volunteer who always walk in the back and talk with other people that are a little bit slower, and we answer questions about health if they have any question as we go. So this is not a marathon. We don't do it a 5K, 10K. We want people to enjoy it and walk on their own pace and be able to feel energized, and they something that they can look forward, because slowly it will change their life.
I really believe that, because I thought, first of all, it's such a friendly environment. Everybody from AARP and Walk with a Doc is so welcoming, and they make everybody feel at home. You get this beautiful T-shirt. They get you set up with a pedometer so you can check your progress, and then, like I said, you spend time with all of us ahead of the walk, kind of explaining what the benefits are, and like you said, you help us stretch out so that we're ready for the exercise. And I thought exactly to your point, because as I started the walk, I ran into a really lovely 80-year-old lady who was out on the walk with us, and she goes, as we rounded the bend, I think it was like on the first lap, she said, "Could we slow down a little bit?" And I said, "Absolutely," because that's the way this thing is set up, is you're able to walk at the pace that's best for you, right?
And I have many walkers, especially here in Tampa, here in Orlando, and they said, I have arthritis. I said, but you go slowly, because the best medicine for the pain and arthritis is a slow walking. So you start slowly, and once you start doing it, your body asks you that, oh, I'm going to walk tomorrow again. So this is actually what it is, amazing. And, to be able to teach the people that walking, you remember back in the days, cardiology tell people you got to eat healthy and walk, exercise, because what is good for your heart is good for your brain.
Yeah.
And that's actually what it is.
Yeah. So what would be the advice you have for somebody that might say, well, I would be new at this, but I would maybe like to come out again. The next one, it's a regular monthly event, second Friday, 9 a.m. at Merritt Square Mall, right there in the heart of Merritt Island, and we meet. Literally, I tell everybody, you just come to the Cinema Center entrance, which is actually, I would say, the way I describe it, it's behind the mall. It's the one that...
that was a good location. People came, exactly. Many of the walkers, they parked right over there. So it was excellent.
Oh, yeah. No, the mall is perfect for this, because you're right. You can park close to the door, so you're able to just get out of your car right into the mall, and then everything is set up right there as you come in. And it's just a great morning out. It doesn't take forever. It's about an hour's time out. And I think one of the most valuable things is just having the opportunity to visit with you, because first of all, you're encouraging and motivating everybody, but then you have all this medical expertise to kind of share that helps us, and people can ask those questions. And, we talked about this. I remember talking to Jasmine. I said, when you go to the doctor's office, you're kind of lucky if you get 8 minutes with the actual doctor. I know you're seeing other people and they're checking your prescriptions and everything like that, but at the end of the day, you're only getting a short...
1 minute with the doctor, so, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a chance to ask those questions that maybe you didn't feel like you had chance to, or maybe you were intimidated to, right?
Exactly, yes.
Well, so I think the next one's going to be bigger and better. We meet 9 a.m. second Friday of each month. So this is going to be actually Valentine's Day when we get together out at the mall. And I love the socialization aspect, right? Because just like you said, there's coffee and things, and people can get together afterwards and say, hey, let's have lunch or whatever they want to do. It's just a great way to start the morning.
Yeah, and we always bring water. We bring a little snack. And the purpose that everywhere wear the T-shirt, because we're walking around, and everybody who's actually walking on, maybe with somebody else, they say, oh, this is interesting. I want to find out what it's about. And I talked to several people that they came to walk on a small group, 2 or 3 people, and they asked questions, what is this about? Or how could I be part of that?
Yeah, I sense that they're all going to be coming back next month now that they know, too. So it's going to happen in a lot of different ways. The people that were there all had a great time, so they're coming back. Now, people who maybe it's their morning ritual, they're going to make sure they adjust the time and be there with us. And then, of course, as people find out, you are so welcome to join us. It's absolutely free, and you take it at your own pace. The folks at AARP with Walk with the Doc, they provide everything. You get this beautiful, colorful T-shirt, and it's just a fun morning out. And I just want to encourage you to be out there. And I want to thank you. I know your schedule as a medical professional is just as nonstop as anybody else who's in that world. But it's very kind of you to take the time to come out and be encouraging and help us all in this effort.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm actually an educator, and I don't believe that you can actually be taking pills and pills. You can do more, eating healthy, walk, exercise, and you can accomplish more by doing that.
Yeah. Well, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of the day to call in and share with us, because I'm excited. We're going to be promoting it a lot. Our president, he's now chair emeritus. He's retired from his active duty with it, but his name is Joe Steckler. He's the founder of the Helping Seniors organization. And I remember this back during COVID. He talked about the importance of seniors staying connected. In fact, we've launched a program with our volunteers at Joe's Senior Resource Center. It's called the Stay Connected program. And it basically, we're talking to people once or twice a week, just making sure they're okay and what's going on with that. If you have any questions about that program or the AARP Walk with the Doc, because I think this is the same thing. I think this is also about social connectivity. You can call us at 321-473-7770. I'll repeat the number, give you a second to grab a pencil so you can write this down. It's a great number. It's the Helping Seniors Information Line. You can give us a call at 321-473-7770. You could say, hey, I was hearing the information about Walk with the Doc. I'd like to learn more. Karen or one of our great volunteers will get you up to speed on that. And Lydia, I think there's also a great website. Is it walkwiththedoc.org? Am I saying that right?
Yes, that is correct. And you can find a lot of information. They have literature there, and you can see how this has been spread around. It's a lot of information there, a lot of information. Yes, please.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lydia, for joining us, and we will look forward to having you all join the rest of us on Friday morning, February 14th, Merritt Square Mall. It's going to be another great morning out. So excited for it. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for your help, Lydia, on all of it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
Okay. Have a great rest of the week. Well, this is exciting for us. I wanted to bring in Mark Gallegos, who is our guest today. He's an experienced, and it's so funny, Mark. We were having the conversation just this morning about the fact that you grow up in the Southwest and you have a real connection to the land and being outdoors and kind of getting kind of health and things for that. And this is a little bit what we were just talking about, Mark.
It is, and I enjoy the conversation and the opportunity to share healthy habits and the walking and the exercise, and being outdoors, and as we were talking, in touch with the earth.
Yeah,
the earth is a living being, as each of us is a living being.
You know,
we are to take care of it.
I was saying, as Lydia was talking about that, I love her approach just medically, because she's talking about so many people have so many prescriptions and things. And it's actually, if you can kind of simplify that down, eat well, and then exercise and move well and do the walking and things like that, I think it's really a good way to go. It's how we were designed to go. So this is going to be a lot of fun. What we're going to do on Helping Seniors Today, because I really want to pick your brain. You are somebody who has spent so much time in real estate. You wrote an article that's in the current issue, the January issue of Senior Scene magazine. It's in the Helping Seniors newsletter section, which is those yellow pages in the center. It was called A New Year in Real Estate. And my first question, as you literally came in the door, said, I've got so many questions for you about real estate, and I know that you keep your ear to the ground to find out what the trends and what's going on, whether you're buying real estate, whether you're selling real estate, whether you're investing in real estate. This is what you're all about. And my first question, because we were talking about even before you got to the radio studio today, is with all this going on in California, is that going to impact the real estate market? And there's so much to everything, that tragedy that's out there. I was saying back in our corporate days, we had an office out in North Hollywood. I'm very familiar with that. And it's just, it's on everybody's hearts and minds what a tragedy that is out there. But what is the fallout when you think about real estate, Mark?
These tragedies, Kerry, seem to be happening everywhere. Yeah. And as we were talking, it's important for each of us to take care of the earth, because we're looking at climate change, mm-hmm. and the symptoms and consequences in California are incredibly visible to all of us right now. Yeah. And these types of tragedies and major weather events are happening everywhere. Yeah, we're going through, and I'm now a Floridian. Right, we're going through our winter, and my brothers and sisters in the Rocky Mountains and even in Arizona, joking with them that the weather here has gone below 50 degrees. Yeah. At night, and that's intolerable for us Floridians. And there's been freezes in North Florida, which we're a tropical environment. Yeah. I grow many tropical plants just in my own backyard, and trees and fruit and vegetables. So I'm guarding them for these weather changes. Yeah. These weather changes and the impact in California will impact Florida and the Florida real estate market. Florida is an attractive area internationally and in the United States. There's a net increase of over 1,200 people per day to the state of Florida. That creates incredible demand for the real estate in Florida. Yeah. And the real estate in Central Florida is dynamic, and it's a growing area for tropical fruits. We eat oranges and mangoes and papaya every day because they grow so easily here in Florida in this environment. This is a tropical environment. When the weather changes, it affects the environment. Yeah. The weather changes, and the sad ignoring of the environment, I believe, in California has led to tragedy.
Yeah, it's so challenging to even understand all the ramifications, and I'm sure over time they'll figure it out. I guess the first step is just to make sure that they get everything tamped down, put out, and then make a solid plan to maybe, for lack of a better way to put it, build back better. But I mean, really one of the key things that we've experienced here in Florida that I really want us to get into, we talk about this a lot in the Helping Seniors world. When Joe Steckler, again, our founder, chair emeritus, he's the guy that created Brevard Alzheimer's. I mean, we're talking back in the mid-'90s. John Harper, who's our president on the other side of the glass here in the studio, John was with Joe every step of the way. He actually got Joe into radio, but been on the board, helped everything get rolling with Brevard Alzheimer's. They built Joe's Clubs, and then literally almost 15 years ago now, Joe came to all of us and said, we want to create another charity because a lot of families have cognitive problems, but every family deals with senior issues. And so John said, sign me up. I started as helping Joe just with media. And over the years, we've really tried to build this into something that can serve seniors. But I think now, 15 years later, when Joe saw the need for this, it's only more important because I keep saying, particularly in Florida, we have more and more seniors. Number one, more people are turning 65, but number two, people are just living longer, so they're just here for a long, long time. It used to be 95 or 100 was pretty unique, and now it's getting quite common. But then the third factor, and this is really the part that you can speak to, is all of a sudden, it's always been people wanted to say, I like the weather in Florida. I want to come to Florida, spend my golden years there. But now it's really become incredible how many people are coming.
It is incredible and wonderful and concerning. We have to be able to absorb large populations and the demographics, because Florida is this peninsula facing all of Central and South America at the same time.
Yeah.
But the attraction worldwide is to Florida because of the Sunshine State.
Yeah.
The Sunshine State is bringing seniors from New York, Connecticut, and California. Of these over 1,200 people per day, a large percentage of these people moving into the state of Florida are coming from California.
Yeah.
California has this similar tropical environment in Southern California.
Yeah.
And they see Florida as a parallel, and another opportunity, a great environment to be living in, to be able to go outdoors, to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
The senior population, as you're describing, is the largest segment of the population in the nation, and especially in Florida.
Yeah.
People are moving in every day. That's affecting the demand for the real estate. When the demand is high, prices generally will also go up. And we're in a balanced market right now as the Federal Reserve is watching interest rates.
Yeah, this is where I want us to go in the second half of the show, is really get into what is happening and where your expertise sees that we're heading. We're talking Mark Gallegos. You write Gallegos. He's with Real Broker. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, we're going to take a mid-show break and come back, but I just want to make sure they can jot down a phone number or a best way to reach you.
Absolutely. And I'm available by text and phone at 305-761-8500. 305-761-8500. I'm happy to help anybody with their buying, selling, or investing in real estate in the state of Florida. I've been doing it for 40 years.
Wonderful. We're going to continue the conversation right after our mid-show break.
And helping seniors of Brevard for this Wednesday continues. I'm John Harper. Let's go back to our host and the executive director of Helping Seniors of Brevard. Here's Kerry Fink. Kerry?
Hey, thank you, John Harper. You know, as we were talking with our guest today, Mark Gallegos, who is a real estate expert here in Florida and a longtime friend of the Helping Seniors organization. John, I was thinking you, too, are a longtime Floridian. And, you know, it is, like we were talking about in the first half of the show, it's really incredible just to see what's happening with the population here in Florida as it keeps growing. I mean, did you ever expect it would grow in the fashion?
It's absolutely crazy, Kerry, as far as the growth from what I've been able to witness as I traverse many different sections of the state, and certainly right here in Brevard County and Central Florida. I mean, you drive over to Orlando, absolutely crazy. Along the beach line, I'm noticing some signs going up for development, for projects to start to be developed. I noticed a big project that is going to be started near where the Bright Line train is going to have a terminal, and that's going to be a big housing project. Titusville is growing, where it hasn't done much of anything for years, but now that's developing. And I travel up and down I-95, absolutely crazy. And I anticipate that we're going to see a lot of people from California moving in here.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, Mark. That's the point. We talked about this. You have a lot of experience with what I would think would be Florida's largest market, Miami, and that whole South Florida. And then you guys have really become experts over the year. Now everything is going on Central Florida, and so you've seen this kind of like explode in the same way.
Kerry, thank you. It's exciting to see the growth in Florida, and as my wife and I, for instance, have a large property and plenty of fruit trees and garden, and then too many houses, in our view, continue to go up on every available lot.
Yeah.
Builders are anticipating this influx. As I mentioned before, there is a net increase of over 1,200 people per day to the state of Florida. That net increase creates the demand for the real estate in the state of Florida. That strong demand pushes up prices.
Yeah.
We're anticipating what's going on next. Interest rates have come down to close to 6%. They're not there yet. They were high as much as 7 and 8% just a year ago.
Yeah.
Now people are coming back. Many sellers have reduced their prices in order to bring buyers back into the market. We're looking at what may be happening next, and if there, for instance, a penalty on imports from many countries, that will transfer to higher prices in the market, in the grocery stores, in building materials. If those prices go up, inflation goes up.
Yeah.
If inflation goes up, the Fed is going to likely stop reducing interest rates and possibly increase interest rates. If interest rates go up, that makes a bigger difficulty for the buyer, a decision for the buyer to decide how much they can afford in a monthly payment in a mortgage.
Yeah.
And the sellers are still trying to entice the buyers to come out to the market, buy. You're describing, of course, our aged population.
Right.
And the median age in the state of Florida continues to go up, just as the median age of first-time buyers continues to go up.
Yeah. It's incredibly dynamic. John?
I had a question, Kerry, for your guest. What are the insurance issues here in the state of Florida going to do for the population growth? Is it going to hinder that growth? A lot of people it seems to be the number one topic that people are talking about. They're talking about what's happening, of course, in California as we speak, and with the insurance rates probably going to be already going through the roof out there. Will that have a cause and effect on us here in Florida?
That is an excellent point, and in the buyer's decision to purchase, they're going to be looking at interest rates and insurance. Insurance is going up, and insurance is a serious issue for the buyers. The insurance rates can sometimes dissuade buyers and or investors to make their decision to purchase. And interest rates are likely to go up as insurance rates are likely to go up. This tragedy in California is going to affect insurance rates across the board, since the insurance is measuring a macro effect of demand for payments out from the insurance companies. And as we have experienced with hurricanes in Florida, those rates can go up after tragic events. I experienced, even in Miami, the Hurricane Andrew, where I lost everything. My house was destroyed and we had to rebuild. And insurance was the big claim and fallback for all of us then. California is going to experience the same thing now, and
I expect is going to affect insurance rates. And insurance rates are going to affect buyers' decisions. So that sellers are going to have to make their adjustments. It's still a good time to buy. The demand in Florida is going to continue. It's not going to subside.
Do you see, however, looking forward to the perhaps the third and fourth quarter of this year, is the demand for real estate here in Florida going to increase, especially because of residents in California wanting to get out and move to a more desirable area where they don't have to contend with forest fires?
That is a great question. The demand in Florida, the economists nationally are predicting is going to continue. That demand is, as I mentioned, from across the United States and internationally. The largest segment of the demand for real estate in Florida is actually coming from California.
Wow.
People are leaving California. They were leaving California before these fires.
Right. And this is only going to heighten that flee to other states, and especially here to Florida.
I use the phrase very often in many of my presentations, all roads lead to Florida. And the sun in Florida is very attractive, the warm weather. However, we all know, living here, that we experience hurricanes.
You know, I have a brother who lives in California. He's actually a priest up in San Francisco, and we're always teasing each other. I said, well, in Florida, at least we know the hurricane's coming. You don't know when there's going to be an earthquake or something like that. And so we're always back and forth with that. But, you know, I was thinking in general, I think one of the lessons COVID taught a lot of people is that we can be mobile. And I think I see this because it looks to me like the influx is from states with higher taxes, because that's one of the benefits we have here in Florida, is we don't have a state income tax. So if you can reside in Florida, then you don't have that burden. And then there's the other things that seem to come into play. I know we have a number of elder law attorneys that we work with in the Helping Seniors Network, and Bill Johnson is one who's on the radio with us every single month, and we're always talking about this, that Florida has some very good protections for real estate when it comes to seniors, if it's your primary residence, that you don't necessarily get afforded in some other states. And I'm talking about, and I'm not an attorney, so I may get some of this twisted, but particularly like your ability to pass on your primary residence to your heirs doesn't get sucked up in creditors' claims and things like that, where that's not necessarily the case with CMS claims in other states, you know, coming from your Medicare bills or things like that.
Excellent points. And the demand is measuring all of these factors.
Yeah.
The insurance and no income tax in the state of Florida. There's a few states that don't tax the income, but they're not in the sunshine as Florida is.
Right.
And the retirement community growing in the state of Florida continues to grow and is incentivized by the laws and the protections for property owners in the state of Florida.
So I guess, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say one more question for your guest. Would you anticipate, just like the Jimmy Buffett Margaritavilles, would there be in the future a Californiaville for people moving here from California? Is that something that would be enticing?
The sun of Florida is always enticing, and I'm not sure you need to drink some tequila or margarita in order to measure the sunshine and to enjoy the warm weather. The warm weather and the attraction to the state of Florida is balanced, as you described. We don't have earthquakes, but we do have hurricanes.
Yeah.
And so that all of these economic macro factors are affecting decisions by buyers, investors, and sellers.
Yeah.
Kerry, I think this is important to let our listeners know because everybody's so concerned about fires right now.
Yes.
But the Brevard Emergency Management Office has reported to us a 1,600 acre prescribed burn taking place west of I-95 right now near the Brevard County Indian River County line. So if people
you see
are
flames,
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, if they're looking to the south and they see the smoke billowing in that area of I-95 and Indian River County and Brevard County, that's a prescribed burn, so don't worry.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that, John. It's important to know because now we're all on heightened alert,
Yeah.
right, about all of this. But it kind of comes back to this question. We know Florida's growing, and I know whether you're on the selling side, the buying side, the investing side, I think it's safe to say that kind of in line with things over time, real estate always seems to move in an upward trend. It doesn't really, I mean, it can wobble with interest rates and things like that, but it always seems to me like a rock solid investment. In fact, most of the people that I know that are what I would call either extreme or even excessively wealthy. I remember meeting a guy back in the radio business. He said, Kerry, he said, I made all my money in real estate, even though he was literally the very first Hispanic broadcaster in the United States. And he said, what was happening to me, he said, was I was buying radio stations, I would have to buy land for a tower. He said, I didn't want the land. I thought I was in the radio business. So the farmer would say, well, if I'm selling, I'm not going to sell you the 2 acres you need. You're going to have to buy my 40 acres. So he really didn't have a choice. He bought the 40 acres. And over time, the value of his real estate portfolio went well beyond anything that he had ever done in the radio business itself. And even though he was the pioneer of Hispanic broadcasting in America. And so it was a fascinating lesson. But I think, is that typically true that with real estate, it's just a fundamental, our pastor says they're building new buildings, but they're not making more land,
There's no question that they're not making more land. And it is, in my view and in the long-term view for buyers and investors, it's a rock solid piece of investment. It's not crypto that you're speculating on what's going to happen or whether it's valid or will remain valid. It's not the stock market, which is going to go up and down.
Right.
We know as well. The real estate has traditionally been the rock solid investment. You buy it, you own it, and in the state of Florida especially, it continues to increase in value as much as 10% per year. As I'm talking to buyers and sellers, because the value continues to go up, they are able to have equity at closing because we go in on an original offer, and that original offer is based on the price that the seller is trying to obtain. And when they get to closing and the appraisal comes in, the appraisal is more recent. So the appraisal is going to capture the value of the real estate increasing in the state of Florida. I tell my buyers and my investors, we can have equity at closing simply because the value is going up, and it's taken so long for many other reasons to go from offer to closing, and sometimes a month. The housing market is in demand. State of Florida is booming. People are moving in and they're buying. Real estate is responding with higher values, but also higher prices. Interest rates are affecting those prices, and some of the prices have gone down. It's a good time to buy. A year ago, it was still a good time to buy.
Well, that's my point. It's like if you would put on take a look into what you see happening into the future, if interest rates would nudge down, that's a good, I'm asking, that sounds like it would be a good thing for the housing market overall.
If interest rates go down, and they're projected to go down only slightly now in 2025. at the end of 2024, they were expected to go down more rapidly.
Right.
With any changes in the market and that are affecting prices and inflation increases, interest rates are going to go up in order to manage inflation. The value of the properties and the real estate in the state of Florida is going to continue to go up. I would project, and you go to your own advisors for your own particular property, but generally prices and values of real estate in the state of Florida will continue to increase based on demand.
And there's also a factor that I think is important. It really benefits us. I'm talking about our family tremendously because we bought our home in Florida so many years ago. There's a thing in the Florida state constitution that limits the ability for property taxes to increase when it is, in fact, your homestead property. And what I have seen is that getting your piece of Florida real estate now makes a really good long-term concept, because I had no idea at the time how valuable that benefit would be all those years later. Like when I see what the property tax is there relative to what we have, like I say, on a rental property. So I think it's so important to think about that part of all of this as well. So, Mark, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that as well. Like, it seems like just becoming a homeowner as your primary residence in Florida has a lot of value.
The law in the state of Florida protects the owners, the ownership, and as you're describing, your primary home is going to be protected by the homestead laws in the state of Florida.
Yeah. So it seems like there's so many reasons to really speak with somebody that has expertise in this. And you've helped like a lot of different people on a lot of different levels, whether they're interested in taking advantage of profits to cash out, maybe do something different, or if they're just now coming into the market, or maybe they have funds and they say, I want to get in on everything that's happening here in Florida. Is there some good real estate investment opportunities? These are all the things that you kind of spend your focus on, right?
I focus on this all day, every day. I'll go from here writing another article that we'll be publishing next month. And I want to get the most recent data into these articles and do the economic analysis.
Good.
As we've described, so many factors are going to affect the purchase, such as insurance.
Yes.
Such as hurricanes.
Yes.
Such as what's happening in California. That is a natural disaster. And these natural disasters can occur in any part of the country. And sometimes it's because of snow in the north.
Yep.
And the impact that the environment has on real estate. Nevertheless, in the state of Florida, real estate continues to increase in value month over month, year over year. Most of the data that's going to come out is going to be year over year data, and you're going to see increases in value 8 to 10%.
Wow.
If you invest in real estate in the state of Florida. At the same time, we have a senior population that may have purchased a 4-bedroom house, and now the kids are gone.
Yep.
So they're empty nesters.
They're changing.
And they're trying to downsize.
Yes.
When you're trying to downsize, you're on the seller side of the equation.
Right.
And you're looking to get the buyers to come in, but you're also in having an opportunity to take the benefit of the increased value of the property that, as you described, you purchased 25 years ago. And you purchased it that's at maybe $300,000, and now it's worth $1 million.
Yeah, that's
because
incredible.
It's incredible, and it will continue. As I'm saying, with my buyers, we're looking at the individual properties, and I'm able to discuss with them that they're going to have equity at closing, because
the value of the property is going to be greater than the price that they ultimately pay. So when they get to closing, many investors are buying and flipping because the value is going to go up, and the demand will continue. We had a couple of years ago these multiple offers on every piece of property that was out there. A little bit of that is taking place. But as I mentioned earlier, we're right now in a more balanced market.
Yeah.
So that if the time from listing to sale can be 1 month to 6 months, I've seen 9 months.
Yeah.
That time to sell is a factor, and when it's sitting there for so long, sellers are having to reduce their prices.
Yeah.
I'm working with a couple of sellers right now and advising them directly, let's reduce the price because the appraisals are not going to meet the price. And if it doesn't, we're not going to have a closing.
The deal's not going to happen.
The deal's not going to happen.
So we're talking with Mark Gallegos, who's expert on all sides of this, whether you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Mark, as we kind of wrap up the time that we have for today, I just want to make sure people have a number to reach you if they have questions, want to explore what's going on in their own particular real estate situation. How do they reach you?
Kerry, thank you. The buyers, sellers, and investors can reach me on my phone number and for text or calls. 305-761-8500. 305-761-8500.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you always when you share good information like you did in our Helping Seniors newsletter and just keeping us up to date on what's going on with real estate. I want to thank you, listener, for joining us on today's radio show. I want to tell you real quick before we go about a great thing that's happening tomorrow. If you have any interest in volunteering, a great friend of ours, Susan Houts, with a company called Assisting Hands in Brevard, she's putting together something called the Brevard County Volunteer Recruitment Fair, and it's happening tomorrow between 10 and 12 at the Veterans Memorial Complex, which is right here in West Melbourne, so it's not very far away. The address is 2285 Minton Road, 2285 Minton Road at the Veterans Memorial Center. And again, it's 10 a.m. to 12 noon tomorrow. We're going to be on site as Helping Seniors of Brevard. Karen Wernland's going to be set up there because, as you know, Karen heads up our volunteer department. We're always looking for, what is it they said in the military? We're looking for a few good recruits or something like that. But there's going to be lots of great organizations. If you have a little bit of time and you want to serve in your community, we hope we see you there tomorrow. Well, that's the time we have for Helping Seniors Radio on today. Thank you again, Mark, for being here and sharing your expertise. We'll look forward to seeing everyone back here, Lunchtime Radio, right here, 90.3 FM, WEJF, next week on the radio.